ladies and gentlemen. This is the start of the Hills and Ripples podcast at Season 1, Episode 1 here. We've got the crew of Harness Adrenaline here. We are going to be covering many topics here. So we'll get started. Let the other two introduce themselves here.
Nick, go for it.
All right. Nicholas Del Preet here, and I'm just excited to start this. Of course, love my brothers and appreciate the time and effort that they put into not only the outdoors, but into life in general. And been hunting for a long time, been introduced to it since I was a kid, back when my dad was a hunting guide here in Colorado, born and raised in Colorado myself. And excited for more things to come. We've got a lot of stuff planned and a lot of big ideas. So we're going to get after it as much as possible.
Get after it, he says. I like it.
I've been using it more often lately, bro.
Yeah, man. Guys, I'm Charles Jernigan, born and raised as well in Colorado, which I guess is surprisingly rare now. But been in the outdoors my entire life, just like Nick had just said. Most might tell you that, but for me, it's as true as like Johnny and June, man. I'll be on a farm in a baby walker with my parents, aunts and uncles and cousins, or even on a hunt in my mom's old like 1992 4-wheel drive metallic blue minivan. I'm in a car seat, so it's in my blood. And I was kind of an outlier, like even through school, really. Post middle school, I got decent grades. Before middle school, not so much. But I always had friends around me who were closer than most people's families. So I've always been really fortunate and don't take that for granted at all. Two of them are on the podcast here with me right now. And so I played football and hunted, which is funny because literally, as everyone knows, football's in the fall. And so every single year of high school, I would miss 1 to 2 football games a year just so I could be in the woods. And that hasn't changed. If anything, it's evolved into what will hopefully one day be a family man in the woods at some point. So yeah, that's me.
Family man in the woods.
Family man in the woods.
When did you two get into hunting? I know you guys talked a little bit briefly about it in your intros, but when did you two decide to get into hunting and the outdoors?
So the first time for me was really from the jump. My dad was taking me in the woods before I could really walk or anything like that, and started out doing, easy things that kids should do, fishing and just kind of spending time out in the outdoors. And then as he was a guide, when I was probably about 4 or 5, I started going on scouting trips with him, and we'd start checking cameras and things like that. And of course, cameras have come a long way since back then. So the picture quality now is completely different compared to what he used to look at. But it really just kind of built that ambition and drive in me. I also have a long line of hunters in my family, from my grandparents and their parents and things like that down the line. But really, when I started hunting, I got my first shotgun. I think I was 10 or 11 and started in the waterfowl, actually. Not very successful, more just spending time in the blind with my dad and some friends. And then progressed into getting a bow when I was about 14, which was used primarily on whitetail out on the East Coast, mainly in New York and Pennsylvania. And then from there, my first rifle was actually a Marlin 30-30 lever action.
Indeed, it was.
Yes, it was. And that just kind of built on everything that I have today. A lot of it I absolutely give credit to my dad for instilling what hunting truly meant for our family. It wasn't just about, killing an animal and even bringing meat back. It was truly just about spending time with the people that you love and that appreciate what the outdoors brings. It brings so much greatness to all of us. It brings new challenges and learning experiences, and it brings so much experience that carries over through into life on dealing with different situations and difficulties and everything like that. And it just gave me a huge drive and ambition, as well as a completely different outlook, I feel, compared to just what people consider everyday society.
You know, that's awesome, man. I guess I would say for me, my first memory is really kind of a memory that I had to make myself, because it was through um it was through a picture. And I'm literally, I talked about I talked about it a little bit. I'm outside of a metallic blue Dodge minivan that was 4-wheel drive. You know, we didn't have a crazy amount of money, so that's kind of what we were using, my mom's car. Um, and I'm in like this car seat kangaroo thing. I don't know. And I'm in front of I'm in my dad's chest basically. And yeah, we're hunting. I mean, and so through that, I've made my own. That's kind of how I got into the outdoors. Alluding to the question. Um, from there, I mean, really, it's been a slew of things. I mean, from I kind of just like Nick said, getting a shotgun and just kind of messing around. I didn't know much about blinds. I didn't know much about dogs. I didn't know much about calling, any waterfowl or a specific way to hunt rabbits or anything like that. For me, it was just going out, having a good time with usually probably like my cousins or my dad and my uncle. And low man cleaned. I cleaned a lot. And so, yeah, I mean, I started out with the basic single shot 2020. There's break action. And so think about that, if you want to age me, go ahead. And I didn't get into archery as soon as Nick was saying. I actually had started rifle hunting using my grandfather's 1906 30-06 with a 3x9x40 loophole scope that we called the dot, because it had a very light reticle and a dot in the middle, and you pointed that damn dot at anything, no matter if you threw it down a flight of stairs, it was going to kill it. And so those are just my memories in general, but definitely my first one's the one I made up from seeing that picture of me in that kangaroo pouch near my dad.
So what do you guys enjoy most about hunting?
I think the thing I enjoy the most is kind of like I touched on a little bit before, is just the time spent with people that enjoy and appreciate the outdoors. It's so much more than, at least for me, it's so much more than just time off of work. It's so much more than, again, even meat in the freezer. That is such a huge aspect to hunting, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing that we can get back in the same value as time. And for people to take time off of work and to go out and enjoy it with each other and tell stories and just laugh and experience everything together. Everyone always talks about the roller coaster of hunting, the ups and downs continuously. There's just nothing more bonding, I don't think, especially for family as well as friends, to go out and do that together. There's so much to learn from each other and from others in general that it helps tremendously move forward. So truly, I think it's the time more than anything that I enjoy being. Yeah, absolutely. Being away from work is always great, time off from work, but time spent with people that you appreciate and getting an opportunity to learn and experience so many different aspects to the outdoor industry in general, be it fishing, hiking, camping, whatever, is just what I value the most, because again, to me, time is the most precious thing we have in this life.
Yeah, I mean that hits the nail on the head. I mean, really, you think about the relationships and how small. I'm in the wood floor industry. I'm in my professional life, and you think about how you're like, oh, I've heard of millions of hardwood floor companies, but just like the hunting industry, the hardwood floor industry is so small and tight knit, and that's one thing. To Nick's point, that you really do learn and see truly, especially as you start going to these expos or total archery challenge shoots, or I watch as much YouTube hunting people as literally anyone you could name. And then you're at these expos, you're at these total archery challenges, you're seeing these people, and you're like, wow, they're just regular people, who happen to love the same thing that I do. We have that, we share that love, and that's what starts a bond, which obviously eventually flourishes into relationships. So I fully agree. I mean, I guess what I enjoy most about hunting, to not say exactly what Nick said, because he hit the nail on the head. I truly believe that, but is watching others grow in the outdoors like I still am. Probably, if I had to say, and then something different, I enjoy the challenge, and I don't mean the physical challenge, though I have, as most of my team knows, a quite taxing heart there. I mean the mental challenge, and by that, the challenge of learning a new type of animal in a whole new place, or that same animal in the same place. Maybe like after a bad winter's hit, like this last year in Colorado and Utah. Those some of those animals, while they are creatures of habit, they're doing completely different things. I mean, there was one place that Lane and I could literally take you for the past 25 years, and you would see a 4x4 nice buck, and I had a tag there, and we're scanning for, I don't know, 250 miles and see one buck, which fortunately I was lucky enough to get. But how cool is that, right? I mean, while it is taxing, to Nick's point earlier, he was saying, oh, the work, the continuous fails and successes. That was that. I was learning so much. In my head, I'm like, oh, these guys are gonna take the exact same route, and I'm like, no, they're hitting me with an audible. They're running a different route. If you apply it to football, right? They're running a different route, and I need to learn on the fly just like them. Which will lead to one of our last questions. But I love the studying aspect also. I mean, gosh, the studying and the e-scouting, how cool is it that we, as anyone, can literally be sitting in, I don't know, New Orleans, Louisiana, today, and scouting physically, with Google Earth and OnX or Go Hunt, and combining those and truly walking without walking, virtually e-scouting this area. So when you get there, you're actually not as blind as you might think you were going to be, right? It's a challenge. It's not fun because you don't know. Oh, well, that looks on this map, that looks pretty decent, and then you get there and you're like, oh, that's nothing but deadfall, or oh, that's 2 or 3 different ravines. How cool is it that you have to learn all these different things between the animals' mentality and the terrain of the land, what weather they get in that land, how the animals react to the weather. It's crazy, and that's what sorry to kind of go on and go, but that's what I love about it. I truly do. It gets me going, obviously.
Touchdown.
Yay.
What is your favorite memory thus far in the outdoors?
This year, last year has been unbelievable. I think all of us will consider it. And that truly doesn't describe what we've been able to accomplish. But, there have been so many memories, and shout out to Eric Cheshire, Matt Lee from Hush, and Jordan Harbison. I was blessed to be on a hunt with them last year for one of the rifle seasons here in Colorado, OTC hunt. And you guys can go watch that film. It's Trip Bull on their page. Absolutely insane. And I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it's just an absolutely amazing hunt. And I implore everyone to go watch that and show some love to those guys, because they are absolute legends when it comes to the new age hunting industry. Then, topping that, actually not even topping that, but just reaching that plateau again and taking 4 elk in 24 hours, 4 cow elk with, my friends, my brothers, people that I truly care about and that I think care about me, and just that support level, during our late season cow hunt was just another huge event for us. Truly though, I think the most memorable moment to this day, for me, is actually one that may not be highly capped in some people's books, as far as, I didn't end up killing anything, but it was one of my archery hunts when I was a kid. I think I was, 13 or 14, again, pretty young, pretty new, pretty green, whatever you want to consider it. And my dad and I were hunting in New York, and I had missed a nice little buck whitetail out of a little tree stand blind we had. And I actually missed the deer twice. Was just super excited, obviously getting that buck fever kind of going. And the thing that sticks with me the most is he wasn't upset. He laughed it off. We laughed it off. And he looked at me and told me, you don't realize how many times I've done that, how many animals I've missed, and how proud of me that he was in that moment, that we got to share that. Even though we weren't going out with an animal, he had the biggest smile on his face that I even took the opportunity and I stepped up in that moment to try to accomplish something that we both love, is truly my absolute epitome of what I consider my favorite moment. It didn't matter that we didn't kill anything. He shared love and appreciation. We shared love and appreciation for the outdoors. And again, that's so much more than just antlers on the wall, a rug on the, the couch, whatever. It was just a moment of sincerity between me and my dad that, we had an opportunity. I did my best, and he still enjoyed every single second of it. And that is absolutely the thing that I hold the most, is just it. I can picture it today, just the look on his face of excitement and joy that we got to even get a chance at a deer. And yeah, that was just the memory that sticks with me the most, on top of so many great hunts and being able to guide last year with a bunch of great, amazing people that have never even been on elk hunts before, and taking friends out that have never done it before. There's just something about, again, that time that you spend with someone in even the low moments that makes everything so unbelievably enjoyable.
Man, dude, that was heavy, to kind of quote Marty McFly there in Back to the Future. That was really cool. How neat is it, kind of going back to what I was talking about with the challenges, how neat is it that one of your main memories is that of an unsuccessful hunt? I mean, that's amazing. I actually got two memories in here that I'm going to talk about that are along that same line. So right on, man. That was awesome. So I'll start with the what I would consider the worst, just because it was the funniest. I got 4 memories here for you guys, because I can't just break it down to one. I can't do that. There was one time I was probably, I don't know, maybe 15 or 16. My dad had just bought a new the new Weatherby 300, the sub MOA one. I think I actually bought it for him. So he gave me his old one, and I'm shooting at this elk. It's probably 300 yards away, and I kid you not, my cousin, and I'll keep his name quiet just for the sake of his life, because people can rag on me, but they're not going to rag on him. My cousin and I dumped a whole box each out at this damn elk, and we did not hit it once. And when I tell you we didn't hit it, like, it didn't move. Like we and then obviously, after a few shots, it would kind of move and then stop again and give us boom, boom, boom. And I told my dad, I was like, here, take the damn gun and drop it. And he was like, no, if the elk survived that, it deserves to live, And I remember that, and it's always something funny to bring up around the campfire, because boy, now a lot of people who've seen me in recent years, I'd probably say like the last 7, 8, if I squeeze that trigger on that Weatherby, something probably is usually going down. But that was not the case then. Another one I was thinking about was, Nick Lane and I's actual first archery elk hunt. It was up in the northwestern area of Colorado, and it was 110 degrees probably. I mean, it was probably at least 100, right? I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had to take naps under the shallow shadows of rocks just to try to get some. We were like, oh, let's risk a rattlesnake bite and to get a nap, It was what we saw. We saw a bear. We didn't see any elk though. But and it just point being is there's two pictures from that. I alluded in the first answer to Lane's topic there. After the intro, I go by pictures, and then I remember the happenings through that picture, right? So there's a picture of Lane and I walking down these in these aspens, and he's laughing and I'm laughing. And I mean, I keep that picture. That picture's so beautiful. And then there's a picture actually from the start of that hunt of Nick showing Lane something on like a Simmons spotting scope, maybe like literal Walmart special spotting scope. But we are embraced and so immersed in the moment that you couldn't tell us that we weren't, 13-year PHs, each of us, professional hunters. And we're just like looking, and I love that stuff. That's because that's what makes me happy, is seeing my friends and my family happy. And so that's a memory that will forever be ingrained with me. Coming up more recently is Nick and I's hunt. We talked about unsuccessful hunts. There's actually 3 in a row for you. But Nick and I had been talking about this since, middle school type thing. Not many people in inner city Aurora hunted at all. And one day, because Nick, like you were saying, he'd hunt on the East Coast, and I'd hunt in Colorado. I think New Mexico once, and then some bird hunting in Kansas. But it's like one day we're gonna hunt, and how often, right? Life flies. There's a quote actually, by who says it? Not Jim Valvano. Maybe it's one of the Craig Sager actually. When he won the Jimmy V Award for courage, having cancer, and he said, there's one thing that the ever so mighty dollar can't buy. It's time. You can't wager time with God. And that's not a direct quote, but that is kind of what was said, right? The essence of it. And time flies. I have actually a best friend. I think about my buddy Brandon Berry, and he passed away my freshman year of college. And we were born on the same birthday, same preschool, same kindergarten, same middle school, and same high school. And for Nick and I to truly make that this hunt happen, so it wasn't just a one day or a what if. It was a no, we're gonna make this happen. And I can't express the level of gratitude I give to Nick for that hunt, the time and effort that he put in. I was the only one who had a tag. He didn't have a tag. The time and effort that he put into that hunt. Hey man, any day you come down, I'm going. I don't got work regardless. It doesn't matter. I'm going. And that truly speaks to the person that he is, man. And so that's definitely one of my more lasting memories. And finally, a few years ago, probably 3 years ago, I'm not sure if this has happened in my family since or even before. My dad got a cow elk, and I got a buck, and so we doubled up on the hunt. And I remember I'm skinning the buck, and my dad's holding its leg, and he's like, it's crazy, and I was like, this deer's tiny because I would, like what? And he's like, I don't think I've ever doubled up with anybody. And how cool is it that it's you? And yeah, I'm not gonna get too much into that, but that's legit, man. Like that's what hunting's about, creating those everlasting memories. And so that's all I'm gonna say on that. But yeah, those are 4 great memories that I'll hopefully always remember and will be ingrained in me.
What is a learned experience that had to be found out on the fly?
Right.
Or what is one aspect of the outdoors that you need to learn more about?
So super quick. Basically, what I've learned is, as everything in life, you have to be adaptable. And Charles gives me a lot of credit for this, even when I don't understand it in myself. But hunting is not the same as when we were kids. It's not the same as 20 years ago. It has completely changed from gear and gadgets, like Randy Newberg likes to say, to environments. And as Charles touched on, patterns of animals and just the expansions of humanity. So that in itself is something that you have to learn on the fly and something you have to constantly continue to learn and adapt to. There is never going to be the same hunt over and over, especially on public land. Things are going to change, pressures are going to change, the amount of animals due to die off is going to change. You have to be willing to adapt and step out of what you think you know and chase the unknown. There's so many possibilities, and I kind of get flack from it every now and again because I'll talk to guys that have been hunting 30, 40 years and they say, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I battle with myself because when you hear them reference the timelines of what they've done and when they did it, it's not the same anymore. So you have to be willing to try the unknown. There are obviously tactics and tricks that work. Corey Jacobson is living proof of that, as well as so many other great people in this industry. But no matter what, they cannot give you the situational awareness for your hunt at that moment. You have to be willing to try anything and everything. Obviously, there are variables that we do not control, but there are also constants that happen, like wind. Playing the wind is a huge factor. Obviously, understanding the feeding habits, the watering habits of those animals is hugely beneficial. But even inside of that, there's so much extra that we should be learning in and delving into before we even get out in the woods to make ourselves the best we can be and to give ourselves the best opportunity.
Yeah, no, that was. I mean, that is about as good as someone can answer something.
I'm on point tonight, bro.
You got after it.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, me too, man. Learned on the fly. It'd probably be a love and infatuation for the work, right? And then that's something that I'm still learning, to be honest with you. How to turn myself from a 1 season a year guy to a lifestyle hunter, right? Still learning this. I mean, literally still learning in the process of it right now. Growing up, I knew sometimes, we'd go on day hunts for small game, waterfowl, what have you. Some fishing trips and things like that. Occasionally, right? But it was really one hunt, and it would come in the face of a second or third season rifle hunt with my family, right? And now it's multiple state hunts. In archery alone, it's multiple state hunts and rifle. It's traveling to go wolf hunting. It's traveling to go shed hunting, which is something that, again, like I said, I'm in the process of this. Something I need to work on. It's shed, then it's turkey. It's learning waterfowl. I mean, how cool? How cool is that? Like that. I mean, I can't say much other than that. That kind of alludes to your second question, Lane. I mean, what's something I need to get better at, right? I would say, again, 4 things: shed hunting, wolf hunting, waterfowl, and fly fishing. shed hunting just because it's continuous exposure as well as a great workout. And my heart needs probably more working out than just about anybody's on the squad. And then wolf hunting, I mean, that's going to be an issue here in 8 years because we released them last year or whenever we released them. And waterfowl, I always thought waterfowl was easy, man. Yeah, I really did. I swear I did. I thought, oh, it's cool. You get one duck, a year, and you're killing it. And I'm watching, guys like Nick, Ryan, and the wounded waterfowl guys, and the really everyone who I'm watching is just slaying, and I'm like, I want that. And then fly fishing, I love archery hunting because it's an art. Fly fishing is an art, rifle hunting and spin fishing are amazing. They're awesome, but they're no more than a paint by number picture compared to a Sistine Chapel of fly fishing or archery hunting. And so I really want to get in archery, fly fishing more. So those are to answer both your questions there.
Awesome. Truly amazing. So we're going to wrap up our podcast here, season 1, episode 1 here. You can always check out the guys at Harness Adrenaline through the Instagram page at Harness Adrenaline and the website www.harnessadrenaline.com, as well as search them up on Facebook, Harness Adrenaline. Any last closing remarks, gentlemen?
Thank you to anyone listening. It has been a crazy ride thus far. And truly, I say it all the time, but we are just getting started. We are not even close to finish yet. I appreciate my brothers for taking the time, my loved ones. I appreciate you guys so much. And yeah, just thank you tremendously from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, a quote that I'm not sure if I read or made up, but a shoe stuck in the mud will find solid ground, and that's kind of where we are with this podcast. And I say that because, with the Harness Adrenaline brand, right? Because the shoe stuck in the mud is still attached to a person, so it's always moving. There's always movement, and eventually it's going to find that solid ground. And this is just another step to that. So whatever. I want to thank everyone who's listening for sure. Thank you anyone and everyone who's following, and please reach out if you have any questions. We'll get into some more education stuff on the next few podcasts, but this was just really an introduction, and I really appreciate you guys, and get after it.